God Dog.
Good morning, beloveds. So it's the day after Christmas. It was actually above freezing it may not have been when my alarm went off, but by the time I got up and looked at my phone, it was above freezing. It feels like it wasn't, but, and, this is just a reminder that it's the holiday season and people may be going through things that they can't talk about. So if somebody is being a little out of character, give them some grace and some space. There may be things going on in their lives that they literally cannot talk about for, a variety of reasons. And just so it's just a reminder. And I want you to know that I am excited about the title. I love the title today. If you can see it down wherever you see that, it's Margaret Stortz today. And so it is December 26th, and our title is I See Myself as God Sees Me. If you have listened to me at all, I'm a big believer in this. I'm a big believer in like blueprints and bliss body and going back and seeing how God looks at us, because I have a very good idea of how God sees us in a very non-judgmental, loving, unconditionally loving way. So I see myself as God sees me. The first quote is, "For in it we live and move and have our being." And that is Acts 17:28. Maybe if I would say, "For in spirit we live and move and have our being." Now we know where Ernest Holmes got it. Acts 17:28. And then the quote from The Science of Mind is, "People are a center of God consciousness in the great whole." And that is from Science of Mind, page 323. Meister Eckhart, the 13th century German mystic, once said, "The eye with which I see God is the same eye by which God sees me." This wonderful comment sums up a powerful metaphysical idea practiced in the Science of Mind. It tells us that hang on. The sentence doesn't make sense. It tells us that all individual. I think there's a word missing in the sentence. That's why it doesn't make sense. Okay. It tells us that all are individual expressions of the one mind. This life-giving premise brings freedom to those who suffer from a limited sense of self. There is no better or worse, no worthy or unworthy. There is only God interacting with God in many delightful forms. Many it's one of those mornings. Many metaphysicians include in their affirmative prayers treatments a statement like the following: "I see myself as God sees me, whole, perfect, and complete." This eliminates the need for guilt and self-blame and allows the healing channels of God and opening into the mind. True oneness with God rightfully means that we can always heal ourselves from thoughts of lack and limitation by turning within to our divine nature. This is what oneness with the whole must include. As metaphysicians, it is up to us to put into practice the healing thought habits that continually allow us a consistent promised renewal in spirit. Infinite mind inspires me, infinite power expresses through me, infinite love heals me and presents me as a true spiritual being. I see myself as God sees me, whole, perfect, and complete. I therefore release any thoughts, habits, or behaviors which contradict my spiritual truth. I open myself to continued renewal, and I am firmly centered in spirit, living in gratitude, joy, and wisdom. And as I said, it's MS, Margaret Stortz. And I'm probably going to go back through that because I struggled through it the first time. But let's go back to the idea of how God sees me. The eye with which I see God is the same that God sees me. So that goes back to our fundamental relationship with God. It's like, what is your idea of God? If your idea of God is an old man sitting in a chair judging you, that's not a comforting thought. But that's not what Science of Mind teaches, and that's definitely not what Jesus taught. Jesus taught that the relationship that he had with God was as a loving father. Now, if you do not have a loving relationship with your father, I can understand how that might not be comforting to you. So, who do you have a loving relationship? Is there somebody in your life that you have a wonderful, loving, very non-judgmental relationship with? Then I think Jesus would tell you that's who you want to model your relationship with God on. Because that is who, that is, I hesitate to even use who when we talk about God. Because God is not a personality. God is above that. Literally above that. Because God is everything. Like everything, everywhere you look, you see God. Everything's made out of God's stuff. And that's why she talked about the many forms. And so when we have these wonderful, loving interactions with people, we are having wonderful, loving interactions with God. Now, when we have interactions that are not so nice with people, we are still interacting with God, but we are interacting with a person who has forgotten who they are. And that's where we want to give them that grace. And now, obviously, most of the time we're not going to say it to the person. But when we're having those interactions with people that are not pleasant, in the back of our minds, we can say, I know who you are. I know that you are a beloved child of God. I know that you are, that you are a divine spark. You are a godling. And I am going to hold this space for you until you can hold it for yourself. That's just that little mini treatment that you can give to any person that you meet that has forgotten who they are and are acting that way. And remember that that's somebody who's forgotten who they are. That's not God punishing you. Okay? That's your opportunity to extend some grace. Now, it also does not mean that you have to continue to put yourself in, that space. If somebody's not treating you well, please feel free to move out of their space so that they cannot continue to do that. But as you do that by offering them grace. Offer them grace in the back of your mind. There was Jessie will occasionally come back to talking about how let people move gently through your head. Don't have an ill thought about them. And so when you have an interaction like that, it's like, okay, I know who you are, and I'm going to hold a space for you to remember who you are. And then move yourself out of their space. But that's what we want to do. We want to go back and have that, check our relationship with God, and then go back and, I like to call it going back to look at the blueprints. It's like God sees us as whole, perfect, and complete. God does not judge us. God does not see where we have fallen down and not held up our end of the bargain, so to say. And so when we when we are going through stuff, then that's that reminder. It's like we can always go back and look at the blueprint. God sees us as whole, perfect, and complete, no matter what. No matter what. We can go back and look at the blueprint and say, all right, let me hold on to that until it filters into my material reality. Let me hold on to that. All right, because she said a whole bunch of really wonderful things. So I'm going to put my glasses back on and work my way back through this. All right. I've already dealt with the Meister Eckhart. The eye with which I see God is the same eye by which God sees me. Like I said, go check your relationship with Spirit, with God, and see, are you being a little harsh with your interpretation of God, which then filters down to you being a little harsh with your interpretation of you. Okay. It's that one sentence that I kept tripping over. It tells us that all are individual expressions of the one mind. This life-giving premise brings freedom to those who suffer from a limited sense of self. There is no better or worse, no worthy or unworthy. There is only God interacting with God in many delightful forms. That is a beautiful expression. It is only God interacting with God in many delightful forms. That's one of the reasons why I call us divine sparks, because we are sparks of God. It takes all of us and everything around us to make up the whole of God. Each one of us is that tiny little spark, but it's still divine. It's still divine. Many metaphysicians include in their affirmative prayer treatments a statement like the following: I see myself as God sees me, whole, perfect, and complete. And I have done that in the midst of when I'm having a health challenge. That's exactly what I do. It's like I see myself as whole, perfect, and complete. Whatever that looks like to God. And I say that, whatever it looks like to God, because society, culture, and religion, gender normatives, and all of that can have a very specific idea of what we're supposed to look like. And it is very rarely whole, perfect, and complete. It's often less than we are. And I said that. I meant that. What society and culture and religion and gender normatives and all of that, our peer pressure groups, they don't have a whole, perfect, and complete idea of us. They have, their idea is generally less than we are. Okay? Their idea is less than we are. God's idea of us is whole, perfect, and complete. It includes everything that we are. This eliminates the need for guilt and self-blames and allows the healing channels of God an opening into the mind. All right? The healing channels of God and opening into our mind. When we are willing to see ourselves as whole, perfect, and complete, even in the midst of the challenge, that is what opens the channel. All right? Being willing to see it before it happens. Because sometimes healing looks like acceptance. Sometimes healing looks, we can get into all forms of healing. Sometimes healing looks like acceptance. Sometimes healing looks like a change in the physical condition. Sometimes that change is to shed the body. Sometimes that change is the body spontaneously heals. And so that's what, when we're looking at healing, and sometimes it looks like accepting the body where it is, because the body isn't who we are. It's the vehicle that carries us around. All right. So that's why I say sometimes it looks like acceptance. And then sometimes it looks like when we open the healing channels to our mind, it opens us up to treatment options that we hadn't been aware of or accepting of because of what they mean. So, there's a whole lot in that. Sometimes acceptance doesn't mean you're okay with whatever's going on. I don't know how to phrase that. And because what I'm talking about is I'm dealing with a chronic pain issue. And I've accepted that I'm dealing with a chronic pain issue. And now I'm open to treatments that I might not have been open to until I accepted, okay, this is a chronic pain situation. What do I do about it? Hopefully that makes sense. I don't ever want anybody to accept a painful condition and just think, I've got to live with this. No. You don't. But healing might look different than you expect. So, all right. True oneness with God rightfully means that we can always heal ourselves from thoughts of lack, limitation, and by turning within to our divine nature. Like I like to say, go and look at the blueprints. Go and look at the blueprints. This is what oneness with the whole must include. As metaphysicians, it is up to us to put into practice the healing thought habits that continually allow us a consistent promised renewal in spirit. So there's that mission right there. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to put into practice the healing thought habits. The healing thought habits that allow us that consistent promised renewal of spirit. Healing thought habits. That right there is a pretty incredible phrase. And it does go back to our relationship with God and what we think God is. And so those healing thought habits, the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to put those healing thought habits into practice. And how do you create a habit? By working on it every day. It takes about 21 days to create a good habit. So whatever healing thought habit you want to incorporate, put it in your face for 21 days. I'm a big advocate of writing on your mirror. Dry erase markers on mirrors are, especially the mirror that you brush your teeth in, because you're going to see that at least twice a day. All right. So that is my suggestion for how you manage the mission today. All right. The other mission is the same mission that I give you every day, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. I got stuff on my mind today. So the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing that I can do for myself and my coworkers today is, as soon as I see my coworkers, I'm going to say, hey, I got some stuff on my mind today. I apologize ahead of time if I'm a little, today. And then that way, my coworkers know that there's something going on with me, and they can give me grace and space. And because I have said it out loud to them, it reminds me, hey, no matter what's going on with you, you can always be kind. And that's what I find with me. When I've got something working, if I don't tell people that, hey, I'm working on something, then sometimes I come off a little short, and then they react, and then I react, and then it just goes. But if I say right now, hey, I got something going on, then if I come off a little abrupt and short, they don't react to me, and then it doesn't escalate. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes that's what loving, kind, and compassionate looks like. To tell people, this is, I can't tell you the entire situation, but I can let you know, hey, there's something going on with me. And honestly, so sometimes that's what loving, kind, and compassionate looks like. It looks like taking a breath. It looks like taking a nap. It looks like taking a walk. It looks like saying, hey, to the people around you, there's something going on. Okay? That's the mission today. Always, always, always. Other times, and that right there, that is the very definition of self-care. Very definition of self-care. So, and sometimes it looks like making space for joy. Yesterday was Christmas. I hope that you made a little space for joy, whatever your Christmas looked like. When we came home for the Christmas Eve service, we watched the Muppets Christmas Carol. That is how I make space for joy. Sometimes that's all it takes. So, all right. The cat is now yelling at me. So here's all the rest of the usual stuff. Absolutely take care of yourself. Absolutely practice on yourself. You are your best test subject. You get immediate feedback, and you deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I say it is a spiritual practice. And this spiritual practice needs a drink of water. So let me wrap this up. Please do something to engage your mind and your body today, whatever it looks like. Big, small, doesn't matter. Just engage your mind and your body. I encourage you to drink plenty of water. As I said, I need a drink of water. I encourage you hydration is super important. I encourage you to get early in your day bright light. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful sunny day, and the weather is on the uptrend. So, open the curtains. And remember circadian rhythms, hormones reset, all that stuff. I do it. And in the words of Ernest Holmes, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you to live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. It doesn't always feel like it. I get that. Especially when there's stuff going on. It doesn't always feel like it. But when we take Emma's advice and we look for the good in the midst of whatever it is that is going on, that is how we open the windows of our soul. We also open the windows of our soul when we are honest with our coworkers and say, hey, I got something going on. That's how we do that. When I say creating heaven, because it is a state of mind and because it is a state of consciousness, it means even when there's stuff going on, you have the power to create it. Because sometimes it looks like peace. And sometimes it looks like comfort. And sometimes it looks like joy. And sometimes, so it's like, it's perfect, whole, and complete. And when I say whole and complete, it's all included. It's all included. All right. And as I said, take Emma's advice, look for the good and praise it. You can always do that no matter what's going on. Because there's always going to be some good to find because you bring the good with you all the time anyway. Because you are the good. All right. Here's the social media part. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I've been running Rev Ryan on the social medias that we are on. The Christmas Eve service is up on Facebook. There's a slightly edited version up on YouTube. And then yesterday's service is up on YouTube too. So it's called copyright. That's why. We have fair use for the service, but we can't leave it forever. So go check that out. And if you want to know what's going on with the center, please email info@creativelife.org. The hot links are hot. They will take you either where you want to go or to the person that can get you where you want to go. So please take advantage of that. And that way you'll know what's going on with the center even when I don't. I do open and read the emails. Do I read them as closely all the time? Nope. Usually I'm in there looking for specific information. All right. So it is the Monday after Christmas. I get to go back to work today, so I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanting day if you're still on vacation, a restful day, a healing day, a take care of yourself day, a be gentle with yourself because it's Monday day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day because you are not just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are a divine spark. You are a brilliant light. You are a God in motion. You are spirit in action, in whom God is well pleased and well represented. All right. That is who you are. That is who I know you are. And as soon as you start believing it, the world gets better. So, and maybe you already believe it, but not full time. So part-time believers we'll get there. All right. Keep working on it. I know I'm a goofball. It's Monday. I get to be goofy on Monday. I actually do kind of enjoy Mondays. The start of the week. But I need to go and, finish getting ready for work. So, Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself and know that you are loved. I will see you next time.